how to truly free yourself from addiction. How to have healthy relationships with alcohol, weed, food, etc. I'm Connie Rose, a happiness and addiction coach. I help you have healthy relationships with things, food, people, and substances. So in this live, I'm going to be sharing with you my own journey into addiction and freedom. And now I can actually take or leave the things that I found addictive, which blows my mind because I went to AA and BA and MA. I went to several of the anonymous programs, and although they helped me for a while, they, in my opinion, are fundamentally flawed, and that is actually why my method came to be, based on my experience in the anonymous programs. So when I was in the anonymous programs, I had already got to the point where I had really thought, oh, I'm an addict and there's something, I can't control my behavior. And so I felt like going sober was the only option. And when you fast forward years later, when I studied at Stanford the psychology of addiction and recovery, it is clear that a period of sobriety really does help reset the dopamine levels in the brain. And then my theory is that then if you implant repetitive hypnosis of to rewire your brain, do the trauma work, get to the root cause of why you started being an addict in the first place, because usually addicts, there's a number of factors, right, and I'll get to that in a moment, but looking at those reasons and alchemizing them as whilst you are sober, and then doing meditation and rewiring the brain, forming new parts and letting go of the compulsive parts. And the more you become aware of yourself, the more you can be in control of your decisions. That's why meditation was such a profound game changer for me, because it means that you have the awareness, and that's what I teach my clients, meditation as the foundation base for everything else. And then so I started drinking when I was 11 years old and got paralytic, completely passed out, and didn't make it to my own 13th birthday party because I was so wasted. And then I started smoking weed when I was 14 and found it incredibly comforting, and I just wanted more. And over the years, I went into very dark places, compulsive behavior around those, dated an alcoholic, and then we were in Mayfair, which is the fancy part of London, and drinking. He was very wealthy, so we were drinking champagne all the time and cocktails and but because it was done opulently, then it wasn't this isn't a problem, it's champagne. But really it was. And the amount I used to drink, because I have a very strong tolerance, I can keep up with a lot of large men, which is not good. And so I would be drinking a lot and smoking weed, and I had an epiphany one day where I'd been drinking so much, and I just had an epiphany, what if I went sober until my next birthday? And my next birthday was I think 10 or 11 months away. And so it was just a divine inspiration. And so I did that, and then in that time I learned how to have fun sober. I went to parties and dance loads, and people thought that I was drunk or high, because it's totally possible to fake that, and then you start becoming happy. And I remember even once I would go to, a few times I would kind of pretend that I was drunk. I was thinking what if I just pretended, acting, because I used to do acting, and then I was kind of be yeah, right, it's not that big a deal. And sometimes I would kind of feel such a relief after even the first cold non-alcoholic drink, because I'd been so conditioned to have that cue. And so it still worked even though there was no alcohol involved. So that's a little tip there. But so I did my 10 months successfully, and then I decided, no, I definitely want to be sober. I prefer life that way. So, and I also feared drinking. I was like, no, my life is going to fall apart again, like it's all going to go to shit. So I just went back to sobriety, and I was like, yeah, I'm an addict, I need to be sober. But in that time, I developed eating disorders. I got obsessed by the gym. I got incredibly thin, and I was starving myself. And because I do believe that the fasting actually caused the eating disorder in some respect, although I'm a massive proponent of fasting now, but it has to be done with absolute awareness. And not too extreme, because I was doing it absolutely extremely, and so my body was in like starvation, like it was just like I felt so deprived, obviously, and so what I did is one day I cooked this massive tray of chocolate brownies, and I just ate the whole thing, and I had the idea to be sick. And this was like when I was 24. Yeah, I think I was 24. Something like that. It was around, I can't remember. It was early 20s anyway. So, and it wasn't like a teenage thing. That's what I'm saying. Like, it wasn't something, I'd never expected that I would have an eating disorder like that, right? So I developed bulimia. And I kept it quiet. I thought, I'll just do it this one time, and then it became 2, 3, 4, and then I was like, oh shit, I'm doing this all the time, and I'm trapped by it, and it felt compulsive. And then I would go to the shop and like buy stuff intentionally to binge and purge it, and I would be walking the shop like going, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And it was so bizarre. And so that is why I went to get help. But I didn't realise that the bulimia is an addiction. It's just like an eating disorder. It's like, it is an eating disorder, but it is an addiction because it's a relief, right? You're doing it whoever does that is doing it as a relief. And that's the difference between someone drinking for fun or like, relaxation, enjoyment, taste, like just a little bit, versus someone that needs it every day or that uses it specifically to get away from their life and themselves. I mean, that's understandable, like occasionally, sure, but if it's like if it's a compulsion to do it like that all the time, and it's a habit, and it becomes something that you find very hard to stop doing, then it's an addiction and it's a real problem. So looking at the reasons why will set you free, and then repeating empowering beliefs. So instead of saying, like in AA, people say, they go in and say, hi, I'm Jenny and I'm an addict, blah, blah, blah. But my theory is, I'm going to start groups where people say, hi, I am Jenny or whatever. I used to be an addict, and now I'm working on, and now I'm building a healthy relationship with blah, 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 blah. And so it's not saying I'm cured, it's saying I'm not adhering to that identity, because identity is so powerful. So letting go of that identity is absolutely key. And then rewiring in a new belief system, a new identity. So I repeated over and over again, hypnotized myself many, many times through other things, with other people, that I am enough. I am enough, I am enough. And so this is what I teach my students, my clients. And so the other reasons about why you can be an addict is genetics, who you grew up with, like your peer influences, and if you were around someone with addiction problems in a household, and what's the other one? My mind's gone blank. Peer peer genetics around someone, and examples. There's one other thing I'm not remembering at this moment. Probably all the drugs I've taken in the past. So I do wonder how much better my brain would be. But you can improve the memory in the brain with time and with specific work. Jim Quick's a great person to look at for that. So you can 100% free yourself from addiction by standing fully in your power, knowing when you're giving your power away, meditating, working with someone that is able to help you look at your past and bring it to the surface in a safe space and alchemize it and let it go. And there's so many processes that can be used for that. And I have a group program coming up soon, so comment if you're interested. And it's the compassion and the dedication to meditate daily and to build your awareness, because the awareness, I'll say it again, will set you free. The more aware you are of your decisions, the more in control you can be of your decisions. It really is as simple as that. And then to help most addicts feel like they're not good enough, like deep down. And obviously, if you have an eating disorder, that's the core wound, not feeling good enough, which is manifesting in perfectionism, because you feel like you need to be a certain way to be loved. And so the antidote to that is self-love. So the more self-love you can give yourself, whether you've got any addictive traits or behaviors or eating disorders, is to tell yourself that you are enough. Send yourself love. Spend time hugging yourself. Look into the mirror, look into your own eyes and say your full name and say, I love you, I always have, and I always will, no matter what. But really, really feel it and look deep into your own eyes. And the more you connect with yourself like that, the more you will find that you do not need to reach for the extra, because you are full up on love already. So having compassion with yourself, to look at your past in a safe space, bringing that stuff to the surface, but meditating, growing your awareness, rewiring your brain with positive, empowering beliefs, letting go of the disempowering beliefs, and showering yourself and immersing yourself and soaking yourself in love. And then you will find freedom. And also just to be conscious and careful to not think, oh yeah, okay, I can just drink again, or I can just do that again. Because you might be so used to the old way that it might just send you off, right? So it's important to do this with a professional, someone that has been through this, and someone that can help you ease back in and make a solid plan. Because with my clients, like, often they don't want to drink a lot after we've been through this process, but we put a plan in place for them to have like the first drink and the first small amount, or the first small amount of whatever, sometimes it's weed, and then documenting how they feel and their reaction, their new way of being, their new way of relating to that thing. So it's totally possible to not be an addict and to be free and to be in control of your decisions. So don't let anyone tell you otherwise. It's just whether you really want to do the work. It does. It's not easy. I'm not going to pretend it's easy. But if you are dedicated and you truly want a life of freedom, because if you actually can't have a drink, and it's not a choice, then you're going to be limited in other areas of your life. Because when you have freedom and control over your life and decisions, that means you are empowered in your whole life. So I really, really hope this has helped. I'm Connie Rose, a happiness and addiction coach. And please reach out to me, at Connie Rose Coaching on Instagram and TikTok. And I also have a podcast called Help Me, I'm Human, which is available on all platforms. And you can follow JoyScore for more lives like this every Wednesday. So I'm wishing you peace on your journey of growth and acceptance in the process. Lots of love.